This FluencyLink tutorial video will look at assessment settings. When creating or editing a standard test, click this cog icon to access test settings. If using publisher-provided assessment questions, we recommend you enable partial scoring here, with partial scoring per question and rounding allowed. Some test settings, such as partial scoring, will become locked for editing once it has been assigned or attempted, so please remember to decide on your settings before doing so. If you want to edit settings that are locked, you can make a clone of the assessment. At the top right, you see Set Test Rules. Here you can enter any text for students to see, but remember these are not enforceable. Test rules are visible here. These top three settings are not required. CCSS refers to the Common Core State Standards. Here you can enter a time limit in minutes for this test. The test will be automatically submitted when the time runs out. When the student opens their assessment, they will receive a message noting that it is a time-based assessment, as well as the amount of time they will have to complete it. When they start the assessment, the remaining time will be displayed in the top right corner. This step solution setting will allow students to see the previous question with their submitted answer while completing the next question in the test. However, this setting is not available for most question types. The question skip setting allows students to move between questions freely. The setting is off. Students need to complete questions in the order they are presented, and they cannot look ahead to the next questions. You can choose to associate your test with particular content. You can use this as a filter setting when searching for tests. Shuffle questions will display your questions in a random order. If this is off, questions will appear in the order that you add them to the test. Test summary will allow students to see submitted answers with correct and incorrect feedback as a summary at the end of the assessment. When test summary is turned off, students will only see their overall score like this. They'll be able to check the answers of their graded assessment here. When test summary is turned on, students will see this question analysis screen. They'll also be able to view their answers by clicking here. If you turn on Check Answer on each attempt, the following settings will appear. Next to Attempts Allowed, you can enter the number of times a student is allowed to try a question. You can also choose to deduct score for incorrect attempts as a percentage or point value. You can also leave this as 0. This Keep Score For setting works as follows. If you select each attempt, the student will be deducted every time there is an incorrect answer, according to these settings. Last attempt means this deduction will only apply on the student's last attempt at the question. Similarly, first attempt will only apply this deduction the first time the student answers the question. We'll look at this question as an example. It has a score of 4 with 4 correct answer options. Here I got 2 out of 4 correct. For this test, I chose to deduct 10% for each incorrect attempt. So in this case, a 10% deduction is 0.4 points. So instead of getting 2 points, I have 1.6 points out of 4. Now, because I enabled multiple attempts, I can try again. This will leave the correct answers I already selected. Now I can select a new set of answers. Enabling partial scoring will allow students to get credit for partially correct answers. If this setting is off, students must get the entire question correct to receive a score. You may do partial scoring per question or partial scoring per response. We'll look at a few questions to see how this works. This question has a score of 6 and 6 answer elements. If I select partial scoring per question, it will take this score and divide it by the number of answer elements. So 6 divided by 6 means each of these is worth 1 point. However, if I do partial scoring per response. Each of these elements will be worth 6 points. That will give this question a maximum score of 36 points. With partial scoring, you can also choose to allow rounding or have no rounding. Rounding is allowed. The question score will be rounded down to the nearest whole number. So for example, a score of 11.4 will become 11. If you choose none, the question score will go out to 2 decimal places. For example, 11.42. If you turn on custom messages, you can enter a message based on the score students receive for the assessment. Students will see this after they submit their assessment. Currently, the score ranges for custom messages must be entered in increasing order. The ranges also cannot overlap. For example, if I enter 51 here, I will get an error because this range overlaps with this range. If you see this error message, check that your score ranges do not overlap and are in increasing order. Thanks for watching.